So, does the media control you, or do you control the media? It's a question that feels incredibly modern, right? But the tug of war over who holds the megaphone has actually been going on for decades. We're going on a bit of a journey today, from a world where massive, top down state authorities controlled absolutely everything you saw and heard, to our current hyper interactive reality where you hold the power literally right in the palm of your hand. Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Welcome. We're going to unpack the really fascinating evolution of media power over the last 80 years. We'll see exactly how the rules of communication were rewritten, shifting the balance of power fundamentally and forever. Here's a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll be moving through rethinking media's purpose, nation-building media, democratic participation, media convergence, the participatory culture shift, and finally wrapping up with device convergence and the future.
All right, Section 1, Rethinking Media's Purpose.
So to really understand where we are today, we kind of have to start at the end of World War II. Newly independent nations across Asia, Africa, and South America were looking for self-sufficiency. They didn't just want to be westernized, they wanted genuine, self-directed modernization. And this birthed a brand new concept: development communication. See, previously, mass communication often treated audiences as a uniform mass to be manipulated. It was almost like trying to program 1 million human robots with one remote control. Development communication flipped that whole script. Its strategic goal was to enhance human potential, foster social development, and actually evoke a positive human response rather than just pushing propaganda.
But early on, there was a problem. A lot of this communication was still flowing one way, mostly from the richer countries down to the poorer ones, which sparked some really valid fears of cultural imperialism. Then in 1980, a UNESCO-sponsored study called the MacBride Report was published, titled Many Voices, One World. It boldly highlighted these global communication inequalities. It pointed out a massive lack of local infrastructure and a heavy reliance on developed countries for hardware and software. It was a major wake-up call against cultural hegemony. Now, what's really interesting here is the shift in focus. By moving away from one-way manipulation, development communication established some incredible core benefits. Its main aim became fundamentally about helping people. By generating genuine feedback and avoiding propaganda, it fostered self-responsibility and local opportunities. The whole point was to improve life, not just economically, but socially and culturally too. Which brings us to Section 2, Nation-Building Media.
To see this in the real world, India serves as the absolute perfect historical case study for using media as a tool for nation building. I mean, the sheer scale of their ambitions was incredible. Starting in the 1940s with world radio broadcasts in local languages like Marathi and Gujarati, they innovated really quickly. By 1951, they were already planning concepts for community FM. But the real game changer was the satellite instructional television experiment, which launched in 1967. This brilliantly illustrates what was happening, because by 1975, they literally had a fully operational satellite loaned by NASA, transmitting daily broadcasts on health, agriculture, and family planning to about 2,400 remote villages.
Around that exact same time, we saw the Kheda Communication Project in Gujarat. With help from the United Nations Development Program, they installed 600 community-owned television sets across 443 villages. This was grassroots technology in action. It operated on this profound belief that localized media could transform mindsets and educate the public right from the ground up. Okay, let's move to Section 3, Democratic Participation and Local Voices.
So even as nations were using media to build themselves up, a new shift was brewing among the people. By the 1960s, a grassroots pushback against large, centralized media monopolies birthed what's called the democratic participation theory. And this really contrasts two ways of communicating. You have the command mode, where the sender holds superiority in a centralized, top-down monopoly, versus the association mode, which completely flips that and champions equality, pluralism, and decentralized horizontal frameworks across gender, class, caste, and race. As media scholar Dennis McQuail pointed out, the goal here is empowering diverse groups directly. So big media houses get replaced by, or at least heavily challenged by, small media. We're talking community radio, underground papers, or alternative television. It's highly interactive. Communities literally possess and run their own media to preserve their local cultures and address their own unique localized needs.
All right, Section 4, Media Convergence and Blended Platforms. Let's see how this builds into the digital age.
Eventually, the strict physical walls separating print, radio, and television began to collapse completely, and that brought us into the digital age of media convergence. Historically, traditional media technologies functioned as entirely independent entities. So, what changed everything? Well, the modem. It was basically the ultimate technological icebreaker. Actually, scratch that. It was the crucial catalyst. Because once we could convert analog signals to digital and back again, computers and telecommunications could finally exchange information. The internet and the World Wide Web were born, integrating all these mass communication channels across diverse digital platforms.
The contrast between these eras is pretty striking. In the traditional era, media was isolated, and your role was just passive spectatorship. You just sat and watched or listened. But in the converged era, media is a massive digital stream of information packets across the web. Suddenly you, the user, have incredible, unprecedented control over how, when, and where you interact with stories and information.
Moving right along to Section 5, the participatory culture shift. This whole technological leap caused a massive cultural shift. It didn't just change our screens, it fundamentally altered our cultural logic. Scholar Henry Jenkins captured this perfectly in his 2006 book, Convergence Culture. He explained that convergence is really a push and pull dynamic. It's top-down because huge media conglomerates are desperately trying to broaden their reach across multiple platforms, but it is also bottom-up because consumers now demand media access anywhere, anytime, in their preferred format. So the crucial point is that no matter how much a corporation plans, it's ultimately the consumers who dictate a product's success by migrating across these different venues.
Jenkins points out that you are no longer just a passive spectator, you're an active participant. In a world of absolute information overload, Jenkins says, each person constructs their own personal mythology from the fragments of information they gather. You are actively taking bits from a continuous stream of media, piecing them together in your own mind, and using that customized resource to navigate your daily life. It's a real game changer. Which brings us to Section 6, Device Convergence and the Future.
This participatory culture translates directly into the physical devices we use in our daily lives, and it's changing how major institutions function too. For instance, traditional academic organizations like the Odisha State Open University are realizing that a single digital media format must now adapt to serve endless platforms to effectively reach modern students. Education is converging, just like everything else. Just think about how device convergence plays out in your own house. In a living room, your television isn't just a TV anymore. It's an information appliance. It's a large screen pulling complex, interactive video streams, virtual lectures, maybe even stock quotes. But then you walk into the kitchen, and a smaller display is perfectly filtering that exact same digital stream to just show you the essential morning news. The media seamlessly adapts to your location and your needs. The ultimate implications of this are enormous. For users, it means you can create a presentation on a tiny private device and instantly upload it to a massive public video wall, because the media formats are common and compatible across multiple devices. For content providers, well, producing content in a single universal format saves massive amounts of long-term costs. It also allows for highly customized experiences, combining intricate presentations right alongside interactive advertising that's tailored exactly to you. So, we've moved from a history of state-controlled mass propaganda to a world where you assemble your own reality from a digital stream. But because none of us can retain all this information alone, we have to talk, share, and collaborate. And that collaboration creates collective intelligence, a powerful, new, alternative source of media influence. The tools of convergence are literally in your hands right now. So here's a question to leave you with. How will you use your collective intelligence to shape the media of tomorrow? Think about that the next time you tap a screen. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.